Hello and welcome back to Watchers in the Fourth Dimension. I'm Alan.
Wait, Alan, that wasn't serious. Get out of here. That's my job.
Oh man, come on.
Nope. Sorry. No excuses. You're out. We'll see you on the next bonus episode.
All right, see ya.
Watchers in the Fourth Dimension.
Do our demons come to visitors?
How can I live in such cold?
Eating lots of food.
Consummate the victory.
Hello and welcome back to Watchers in the Fourth Dimension. I'm Anthony.
I'm Diana.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Reilly, and we sing in praise of total war.
I was wondering who was going to be the first one to sing. This episode, we're off to our local Renaissance festival where the Master wants to stop Magna Carta from happening because reasons? Yeah, we're going to be discussing the strange little story that is the King's Demons. But before we get into that, Reilly's going to take a quick look at the mail. Over to you, Reilly.
Thanks. We had some listeners write in regarding our episode on Arc of Infinity. So let's begin with our good friend Alan Seiler, who writes, I'll have you know that 40 years ago when I saw this story for the first time, I was obsessed with Robin and Colin, and I still ship them so hard. I know it has problems, but I just enjoy the heck out of Arc of Infinity. I love having Nyssa finally getting a significant role in a story. I love having Tegan back. And of course, Colin Baker is as radiant as ever. Sure, the plot doesn't make a lick of sense, but I still have a great time watching it. Funny story, I used to host Doctor Who parties at my house every month. I once screened Arc of Infinity and comments comparing the Ergon to a turkey were made. At one point, the Ergon comes out of his little game show door and shoots someone, goes back inside, and the door doesn't close after him. Someone said, he's not even going to close the door? To which someone else replied, well, he was raised in a barn. Anyway, I like this one, so I give it 6.5 out of 10. And what metric do you ask? Well, I'm undecided. I'll either want to go with 6.5 out of 10 turkey dactyls or 6.5 out of 10 twink fuckboys on holiday.
So,
Wow.
a couple of things. I'm really not surprised that Alan loved the twinks. Can't explain why. Just,
Yeah, I don't know.
Second, some of my friends used to host similar Doctor Who parties in England, and I have many fond memories of getting shit-faced and heckling Doctor Who through my late teens and early 20s. Good times.
Stacey Custer writes in with, there were two moments in this story where I saw the Doctor. When Maxwell has him at gunpoint at the end of episode 1, and he says, hello, I'm the Doctor, right before he gets shot, I kind of believed him. He dropped the register of his voice just a little and spoke with some force, and I thought, wow, that's more of what I expect from the Doctor. The other moment is when he's standing before the council and is asked, have you nothing further to say? How he answers really caught my attention. He says, I have a great deal to say. There was force and authority behind those words, and a bit of anger that lent weight. Unfortunately, he didn't follow up with anything, which kind of left the moment hanging. But I was pleased to see something from him that caught my attention. He's not 100% there yet, but there are glimmers here and there. I was really confused about the gun the emaciated pterodactyl was shooting. I was so shocked that Colin was still alive after he got shot with an alien gun and disappeared. I thought he was dead. Then he's suddenly a zombie shuffling around doing maintenance work for Omega. Was not expecting that. Something else I wasn't expecting was Nyssa running around shooting Time Lords. That was kind of fun. The story wasn't boring, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense either. And on the whole, it just wasn't that great. 5 unhelpful, hostile receptionists out of 10. And that becomes a trend here. Everyone goes right down the middle on Arc of Infinity. David Gordon writes in with another good listen. You know, for all these years until you pointed it out, I don't think I had truly gathered how irrelevant the titular arc was to the plot. I think the comment, not great but not terrible, about sums up this one. Although it's nice to see that Gallifrey obviously has a branch of IKEA somewhere. I seem to recall when this was first broadcast that I'd guessed it was Omega coming back as soon as they mentioned the word antimatter. But yes, as has been said elsewhere, the plot doesn't make a huge amount of sense, and Hayden seems to be killed off for no other reason that they don't know what to do with him in Part 4. Apparently, Colin Baker used to refer to his helmet as Esmeralda since it looked like a chicken. I think the Ergon would have been better had it been kept in the shadows. From the Doctor and Nissa's perspective, it clearly seems to have been at least a couple of years since Time Flight, a gap which has been well exploited by Big Finish, and yes, that Doctor doesn't seem entirely delighted at Tegan's return, with which I could sympathize as I wanted more Dr. Nissa stories. Overall, well, it's just there, isn't it? I'm giving it 5 recall circuits out of 10.
Reilly, you mentioning that this tends to be right down the middle in terms of opinions. This is definitely a 3.6 Ronken story.
Yes, it is. And then, just to point out, David Gordon follows up with that. Incidentally, a couple of years after this, the sitcom Only Fools and Horses did some filming in Amsterdam for their 1985 Christmas special To Hull and Back. And what David does here is he links to a YouTube video with the title of Only Fools and Doctors, and it is a video which shows the Doctor and the companions running through Amsterdam in the last chase scene, intercut with the characters of Only Fools and Horses also running through Amsterdam. So that was a funny little delightful thing there. We always appreciate when people send us pictures or links to videos. Karen James Evans writes that, well, he's just straight up, beige sofas, dull costumes, awful music. Oof. Time Lord groupthink at its finest in a shit Matrix effect. Other than filming in Amsterdam, and they don't show much of the city, is there much going for this story? A better role for Nyssa and Colin, of course. It says something when I'd prefer to watch Time Flight over this one. 3.5 Gallifreyan credits for a coffee out of 10. So that one was not down the middle. Beardo Beatnik writes in, another fun time with the Watchers. I think Anthony summed up my thoughts and feelings about this episode perfectly with the phrase mutant turkey. 4 out of 10 celestial toy makers masquerading as a Time Lord. And to wrap it all up, the Whovian Gal writes in, I normally dislike televised Gallifrey stories, with 2 exceptions. Arc of Infinity is not one of those exceptions. At least Nyssa is great in this, and it's only 4 parts. It's rare, but I'm in complete agreement with you guys. I give the story 5, well, once again, 5 Gallifreyan coffee chats out of 10. And that is the mail.
Well, thank you for that, Reilly. And as a reminder, we really do love getting your feedback, thoughts, comments, and questions. And as you've just heard, we do try to read out as many as possible on the show. So as always, please do get in touch. You can contact us through Facebook and Instagram at Watchers4D, or you can email us at watchers4d@gmail.com. And you can also interact with all 4 of us on our Discord server, and an invite link to that is in the show blurb. Additionally, as always, we would absolutely love it if you subscribe to the podcast, if you're not doing so already, and if you dropped us a review or rating on your podcast platform of choice. That really does help push the show up in the listings and get us out there. So please do that if you're not doing it already. On to the King's Demons. And the origins of this story start with the idea for Chameleon, because doing that seemed like a good idea, apparently. In previous stories, we've had plenty of mentions of the firm Imagineering, which was a freelance props company based in Witney, Oxfordshire. Richard Gregory, who was part of that company, approached producer John Nathan Turner about a project developed by Chris Padmore, the owner of CP Cybernetics. Padmore and software designer Mike Power, what a great name, Mike Power. Anyway, they'd devised a working robot with a body that could move in an approximation of a human's, and it could also mime speech to pre-recorded dialogue. They were working on perfecting a system which would enable the android to work, and unfortunately, Padmore had actually run out of money and was going through efforts to secure additional funding. He was looking at the commercial sectors with an advertising gimmick, and also possible involvement in the science fiction movie Extro, which I've never heard.
Oh, Extro?
Yeah.
Oh, that is wild, and was banned in England for a while because the first 30 minutes are very gory. Anyway, we're getting close to Halloween. So yeah. I had to jump in there.
But both of those efforts bore no success. So Padmore contacted Gregory from Imagineering, and Gregory suggested that the robot might find a use on Doctor Who. Our dear producer, John Nathan Turner, was intrigued by the idea, and in late November 1981, he and script editor Eric Saywood were given a demonstration of the prototype by Gregory and Padmore. Our production team members were impressed, sensing that the android might appeal to the public in the same way as the robot dog K9 4 years earlier. They agreed that the android should be tested in a short adventure, and if this proves successful, it might become a regular companion for the Doctor. To write this introductory story, because having the character before the story seemed like a great idea, I'm going to keep hammering on that, Nathan Turner turned to television veteran Terence Dudley. In the last year, Dudley had written 4 to Doomsday and Black Orchid for Doctor Who, both in season 19, as well as the unsuccessful K9 and Company pilot. Saywood argued against hiring Dudley. He had not been impressed with his work, and the two of them just did not get along. But John Nathan Turner forged ahead, and a second demonstration of the android was arranged for Dudley's benefit around Christmas. At this point, Nathan Turner formally agreed to use the robot on the condition that Padmore continue to improve it. In particular, the producer wanted the android to be more mobile, and he hoped that the walking mechanism would be functional by the time it went before the cameras. In addition to the android's debut, Dudley was told that his narrative should feature the return of the Master. Anthony Ainley had been contracted to appear in just one serial during season 20. J&T had originally envisaged the Master in appearing in 2 stories per year, but there had been no suitable adventure so far this season. Now J&T felt that pairing the Master with the android would be an interesting new way to use the villain. Again, Saywood disagreed with his producer. He felt, and Reilly probably agrees, particularly with this Master, that the Master was an inferior character and he was not eager to bring him back every year. With these requirements in mind, Dudley brought back an idea he'd been contemplating prior to writing Black Orchid, where he would take the TARDIS to the England of King John. In particular, the narrative would be set around the signing of Magna Carta, the agreement between the English monarchy and the rebellious barons, and it would limit the power of the throne. Although the Magna Carta was almost immediately violated and was quickly voided by Pope Innocent III, many of its provisions would later be restored and form the basis of many modern freedoms and liberties. Anyone who's a budding historian should also look at all of the popes called Innocent. I don't know what it is about those names, but they tended to be the most evil ones. Anyway, in this scenario, Dudley introduced the Master, who would be operating under the alias of Sir Gilles Estram, the last name being an anagram of Master. And keeping in mind the robot's limitations, Dudley decided to make it a shapeshifter so that an actor could play the role as necessary, and it was also Dudley who coined the name Chameleon. Very quickly before I talk about the commission and the working titles, just with continued Master gags, with Reilly already sighing at that. As Sir Gilles Estram, Anthony Ainley was actually credited as James Stoker, which is an anagram of Master's joke.
Oh.
I know. In late February 1982, Dudley received his commission to write the story that was initially called The Android. And these scripts went through several other working titles, including The Demons, but this time without an A, unlike the Pertwee story, which did have an A. Anyway, A Knight's Tale, and according to some publicity photos, also Demon's Keeper, before it was finally named The King's Demons. The King's Demons was intended to be the penultimate story of season 20, both in terms of production and broadcast. It would be the first assignment for young director Tony Virgo, which is a total porn star name. And with this, he made his only contribution to Doctor Who. Joining him behind the scenes, we have production manager Jeremy Silbertston, who makes the first of 2 contributions to the show, and he's also known for work as a production manager on EastEnders, Lovejoy, and Bergerac. As designer, we have Ken Ledsham returning for the 3rd and final time. We've previously seen his work on season 16's The Reboss Operation and season 17's Destiny of the Daleks. As costume designer, we have Colin Lavers, also returning for the 3rd time, and we've previously seen his work on season 16's The Power of Kroll and season 19's Fought to Doomsday. And lastly, we actually have co-composers scoring this story, so Jonathan Gibbs makes the first of 4 contributions to Doctor Who, and Peter Howell returns to the show for the 7th time. Now, as work began on The King's Demons, a dark cloud hung over the BBC. The Electricians' Union had been threatening strike action for weeks, and the picket lines finally went up in early November 1982. As a result, Enlightenment, the story which immediately preceded The King's Demons, was suspended in mid-production, with its pre-filming having been completed, but its studio dates indefinitely postponed. Concern now arose that both The King's Demons and The Return, the Dalek story that was intended to close the season, would have to be abandoned. Fortunately, the industrial dispute was resolved in late November, and Nathan Turner decided to keep the original recording dates for The King's Demons in order to avoid the expense of extending the contracts of those involved. However, it was too late to completely salvage the season. Enlightenment would have to be finished during the studio dates originally meant for The Return, which meant that the Dalek story would be delayed to season 21, becoming Resurrection of the Daleks. Consequently, The King's Demons would now serve as the season finale. And as originally scripted, it ended with a cliffhanger that led directly into The Return, in which the TARDIS became trapped in a time corridor, Tegan would ask if this was the Master's doing, but the Doctor suspected an even more malign force at work. Saywood replaced this with a sequence that foreshadows the Doctor's trip to the idyllic Eye of Orion, which is a reference to the opening scenes of The Five Doctors, which is the 20th anniversary special that was being prepared for transmission in November 1983. Meanwhile, the production team was having second thoughts about the practicality and usability of Chameleon. Sadly, Mike Power had been killed in a boating accident, and no one else possessed the necessary understanding of the software which actually made the android work. As a result, Padmore had been unable to perfect the walking mechanism, and it took weeks to program all of the dialogue. It became clear that Chameleon could not be retained as a regular member of the TARDIS crew, and Nathan Turner decided that he would be brought back for just one more story to air sometime during season 21, in which he would be written out of Doctor Who. So, hi, bye. During production, the issues with Chameleon proved to be even more severe than anticipated. The prop constantly broke down, and it proved unable to maintain synchronization with Flood's pre-recorded dialogue. Virgo completed as much footage as he could, but several Chameleon scenes, as well as several sequences involving Tegan alone in the TARDIS, could not be finished by the end of the block. Fortunately, J&T was able to schedule an extra day for the King's Demons in mid-January 1983, immediately before Enlightenment belatedly began its first studio session. The outstanding material in the King's Chamber and the TARDIS was completed, and Chameleon was working better than it had in December when they left off filming. The broadcast of Part 2 of The King's Demons on March 16th, 1983, marked the end of Terence Dudley's involvement with Doctor Who. It also brought season 20 to a premature end. This had been a difficult year for Doctor Who, with audience figures down sharply compared to season 19, and at times the number of viewers had dropped to about the same levels which had provoked such concern during season 18, and provided some of the rationale for shifting Doctor Who from Saturday nights to weekday nights. So that wraps up our behind-the-scenes information, and with that, we move into our short summary, which is with Julie this episode. Julie, go.
Well, curse you, Reilly, for stealing my thunder.
Oh, no.
We start within medieval times, where King John seems to love the rhyme. How can the BBC save dough? By reusing costumes, don't you know? What one thinks is a simple plot. You're right, since that's what we've got. It's just another time to have the Master with a stupid plan. Doctor and crew get caged in. More than once ain't it a sin. And while the Master does not use mind control, it's still a snooze. And yes, we get Chameleon, the nicest robot there's ever been. The Doctor still remains a dick. Our companions, I fear, may not stick. And that's it.
Great. It's great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Round of applause.
It's been a long time, everyone. I apologize, but there is a lot to work with here.
Oh, yes.
All right. Before we actually start the story, can I just say how much I love that stupid song? It's so bad and yet so good at the same time. I love that it exists and I love that it's in this story.
Specifically the way that he chooses to round out his ending vowels.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
You did it very well, Reilly.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Against the Saracens, we're ha.
Aw.
It's amazing.
I can't get myself to do that without laughing. So, sorry, everyone. I didn't quite lean into it that hard.
All right. Let's go into part one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, the Jester.
I didn't even have any notes on the Jester.
Probably somewhat accurate for, time, but ooh, makes me cringe every time I see something like it.
He seems to be having a good time. I don't know. He seems to be enjoying himself. So,
Yeah.
Julie, you called out my first note, which was, oh, great. Medieval times. Haven't seen this before on the show. Hey, I'll give them credit, though. At least it isn't a different alien planet somewhere that just happens to dress like medieval Europe. So I'll give them credit for that one.
Very quickly before we move on, just a shout out because Peter Burrows, who played the Jester, would go on to be in Flash Gordon, or he'd already been in Flash Gordon. He'd go on to be an Ewok in Return of the Jedi, a
Nice.
goblin in Labyrinth,
Very nice.
and then a goblin in a couple of the Harry Potter movies as well as he would be Marvin in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie.
Oh, cool.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, he's got some cool stuff in his filmography.
That's a really long career. That's great.
But yes, absolutely. We can all tell that they were trying to save money as much as possible in this one because you've got period piece. Great. We already have the costumes. Sets. Great. We have plenty of castles. And again, sets. We have them.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
And then on top of that, because it's only 2 episodes long, you have really disjointed things like this opening scene where everything seems to be going fine. King's enjoying himself. Everyone's eating. And then the king just takes this sharp turn, and starts saying how he's so offended because I guess he isn't throwing him a big enough party. It's just, they waste no time in just making that sharp turn. And then we get straight into jousting.
I legitimately thought that I had clicked on the wrong episode. I was like, did I click on the second one? We're okay.
I mean, King John kind of had a reputation of being a dick. I mean, he's known as Bad King John, literally oversaw a baron's rebellion, and equally, this isn't even the king. So I think having him just switch his mood, like there's no tomorrow, is kind of fitting for this king.
Mm-hmm. Well, Anthony, your negative words against King John, I will just say that I do abhor.
I was wondering if you were going to challenge me to a joust, Reilly, at which point I would have told you I am severely allergic to horses, so no thank you.
I'm severely allergic to getting a joust through my chest. So.
Getting a joust. It's called a lance.
Oh, that's right. It's a lance. My brain, all I could think of was just like the little old arcade game Joust where you're like on a little ostrich and you're flying around.
Yes.
Great game.
All right. Very quickly, we meet Sir Gilles Estran. Did anyone not figure out that was the master immediately?
I did not actually. So my disappointment was pure and true when it happened.
I could tell there was some prosthetics and makeup happening, but because in the last episode, I thought that, the other guy had on prosthetics and that was just his regular old face. I was like, maybe my eyes are broken this month and I just can't see things right. So I felt better when I was like, oh, good. He was wearing prosthetics.
I guess I've just seen Ainley's master so much that his voice is just so obvious to me. And, I already knew that it was him, so I was looking for it, I guess.
I could also tell it wasn't a real French accent.
Oh, God.
Yes.
It was 100% out of Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
He was supposed to be French.
Yeah. I only picked that up because somebody mentioned that he was supposed to be French. And I was like, is that what that accent is?
I couldn't figure it out.
The backwoods of France? Like, where is he from?
Yeah, weird call. He didn't have to be French.
See, I honestly thought that because of the prosthetics and how he spoke, that the character had a backstory that, like, his mouth got damaged in battle, and so he just doesn't speak very clearly.
No, it's just they're trying to hide Anthony Ainley as the master.
All right.
Boy.
Can I talk about another part that I have some issues with?
Yeah.
It's the music, because
yeah.
What's funny is on occasion, there's something that I like. So, for example, the drum cadence leading up to the joust, great. Whatever happens immediately after, what? And then we have the flute playing, and I'm like, oh, cool, period piece, and we're going to do the flutes, and we're going to do all that. And then the synth comes in, and I'm like, excuse me, what?
Yeah, it is a bit all over the place.
Now, don't get me wrong. Synth can work in period piece type things, because Legend is a very good example when Tangerine Dream does the music for it, and it's wonderful. This is not wonderful.
Yeah.
This is no Tangerine Dream.
No, it's not.
It's a nightmare, is what it is. The synth horns, that was the thing that I felt was the most atrocious. It's like, really? Just at this point, why? There's got to be a stock sound or something they can do of just a horn blaring, because that's all they needed. Why did they have to make it synth? Oy, oy.
Yeah.
Because it's the 80s.
Everything's synth now.
And speaking of 80s, this is a clean segue. Tegan's outfit.
Yeah.
They finally let her change out of white.
And a functional top. Like, I'm still mad she's in a skirt, but then they added on that incredible coat.
I love that coat.
Oh.
I think that top just reminded me of grade school Trapper Keeper art.
Mm-hmm.
It's glorious. It really is.
So we have our little jousting competition. Well, not competition. I guess they were going to go to the death because it was about honor or something. As you can tell, I'm big into historicals. I love them so much. So then the TARDIS shows up, and then King John, for no reason at all, just starts calling them demons. And I would like to ask, did anyone else find that the way he said demons throughout the serial, it sounded like he was being sexually aroused?
Uncomfortable. Yes. I wrote down, if I have to hear our demons one more time.
And the way he asked about Tegan, could this be Lilith? It was, yeah, it was sleazy. I mean, he's chewing up the scenery like there's no tomorrow.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And once again, though, why would he think they're demons? I mean, out of anything of medieval or like early Christianity, there's nothing about the Doctor, how he looks, or Tegan, or the TARDIS that would hint at anything like that.
Well, I mean, firstly, he is being controlled psychically by the Master.
Oh, so, okay.
This is the Master discrediting the Doctor as soon as he recognizes him, basically. Yeah.
And that's a surefire way to stir up the medieval peasantry rabble.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting that the only mind control that the Master does is to a robot.
Yeah.
It's very odd, but okay.
It's so sad that that's all he did.
Yeah.
And what do we think about our other characters outside of King John? Our befuddled, put upon family. I guess he's a lord because he has a castle, and his son and his wife.
Lord Ranulph Fitzwilliam, his son Hugh, obviously Lady Fitzwilliam, and then later Sir Geoffrey de Lacy.
I am so sad about Geoffrey, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Mm-hmm.
You're so sad about him. I'm sad that for this to be a period piece and they have historical characters, why didn't Sean the Irish Bastard show up? Or unspeakably violent Jack, the bull-boogering priest killer of no fixed abode?
Nice.
Alrighty then.
Had to make a call back to Blackadder, of course.
Yeah.
But Lord Ranulph, whatever, man, he was all over the place. He was like, I'm with the Doctor, I'm not with the Doctor, I'm with the Doctor, I'm not with the Doctor. And then Hugh, the son, please get off your stupid high horse and stop trying to kill yourself.
Yeah, that whole thing about the honor, I was like, this is dumb. This is a little extreme.
Yeah.
And if Daddy flip-flops that much, like, I don't know how he's running estates or making major life decisions because it wasn't that serious.
Right.
You know, there weren't, like, the stakes weren't even really all that high. Like, wife is in the dungeon. Like, well, he's not saying he's going to kill her. Nobody's life's at stake right now.
Right. And our main conflict is just the king isn't getting thrown a big enough party. That's our conflict.
And everyone's confused.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no one knows who or what the Doctor and Tegan are. That's where we are. And then, of course, we get our wonderful lute playing in our song, which is the highlight.
Yeah. I mean, we don't initially really realize anything is wrong until we hear that the king was meant to be in London taking up the cross for the crusade.
To be fair, the king was acting like a weirdo the entire time. You say we didn't know anything was wrong, but immediately the king, it's just like, you don't make sense.
Well, again, this is a king who has a reputation for being a dick.
He was weird, not just a dick. He's a weird dick.
Oh, boy.
I'd like to say that by all accounts, John was kind of a weird dick. Well, he was kind of a weird John, but you know.
Hey.
There we go.
Okay, so, I mean, first off, Turlo gets actually put into irons because let's do that. I'm happy for it.
I mean, some BDSM for Turlo. Let's
But
go.
I have a question about that Iron Lady. Why the boobs?
Why not, Julie?
So you know it's a girl.
Yeah, so you know it's a lady.
How else are you going to know it's a maiden?
And how are you supposed to know that you should bow or curtsy when the Iron Maiden shows up?
It would make all of the men too uncomfortable to be inside of another man.
Oh, yes. Hey, there we go.
Fragile masculinity.
Since we're getting towards the end of part one, I have to share my journey. As I mentioned before, I was not aware that the Master is going to show up and do a stupid fucking thing with dumbass disguises. He's like the Gene Parmesan from Arrested Development at this point. And so when King John asked them to bring out the Iron Maiden, the way they were holding it, I immediately got scared. I was like, oh, no, because we hadn't seen it before. And I was like, oh, no, don't tell me that's like the column TARDIS of the Master. And then when they put it down, I could see it had, lady boobs. And I was like, oh, good. It's not that. And you could see the spikes in it. And then the reveal happens. And it was so utterly disappointing because to feel like it was going to happen. And then I was like, oh, no, it won't happen. That's a real Iron Maiden. And then for it to happen, I honestly booed out loud. And on my notes, all I just have said is, fuck that. Because I am tired of it. I am so tired of it.
I do want to call out that Iron Maidens are actually now considered to be a myth, and there's no evidence of their use, and there's no known mention of them from before the 19th century. So, huge anachronism here. But equally, you could always just argue that the Master / Sir Gilles Estram introduced it to this castle.
How about the fact that they kept calling the TARDIS a blue engine? And I don't know what engine meant in, 1215?
Good question.
But I don't think they'd ever heard anything that went room, room before,
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bothered me the whole time.
There was a lot of language things that I had issues with because oftentimes it felt like they just made them speak strange just to speak strange. And don't get me wrong, I understand that they would be speaking a very different kind of level of English, right? Because we're way back in medieval time. However, that's not what I was hearing. It just felt weird for the sake of being weird. And we can say, hey, we're speaking old-timey. No, you're not. It just sounds bad.
Does this explain I guess we're in part 2 now because this is at the very beginning of part 2. It was so strange how King John said this word that I can't even remember how weird it was. I can't figure out what it was. It's the word consummate.
Yes.
And he said it like consummate, not consummate. It was really bizarre. Were they trying to hint that maybe he was a robot because his speech was a little strange?
I mean, his speech is just strange across the whole thing.
I was too distracted by the robot telling the Master to consummate the victory when you know that that's all the Master's trying to do. He's standing there going, I'm trying, damn it.
I do want to just touch on that fight because there are a few things I love. Firstly, the Doctor is so clearly being snarky, provocative, when it turns out that the King's like, Sir Geoffrey clearly disobeyed my summons to come to London. And the Doctor's like, oh yeah, let's boil him in oil. And he's just trying to provoke Sir Gilles. He then questions his taste and sarcastically describes the King's performance as quite spectacular, leading to Sir Gilles challenging him to the duel. We have that wonderful line of dialogue where someone says he is said to be the best swordsman in France. And the Doctor says, yes, fortunately, we're in England. Love that. And then we get the sword fight, and I was getting echoes of Pertwee and Delgado here. I feel like that was definitely a direct reference.
Distant echoes.
Yeah.
But reference nonetheless.
Right, yes.
And a reference, but it also felt really weird because the Doctor fighting in a sweater is really weird to me. It just felt off.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of times, right, when they're fighting. I mean, David Tennant fights in pajamas in New Who. And for some reason, that didn't feel as weird as this did. I don't know what it is.
Well, the Doctor did not actually seem all that comfortable with a sword.
Yeah, that's true.
Very much one of those things where I don't think that the fight choreography suited the characters or the actors portraying it in the fight, because I just don't think either one of them did a good job with the choreo.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, okay.
And when we get the Master reveal, the Doctor's like, so you escaped from Zarephath. And we get zero explanation, and the Master just goes, oh, my dear Doctor, you have been naive. And that's our cliffhanger, and we're into part 2.
Tegan throwing a knife at the Master. Great. Love that.
Yeah, but if it were Leela throwing a knife, the Master wouldn't be able to catch it.
It's true.
I have a slight musical thing I want to touch on, because there is a musical cue that I felt was a very strong reference to Delgado's Master's theme. It wasn't exactly the same, but it kind of sounded vaguely similar. And I was thinking, I feel like that has to be deliberate.
I'd have to go back and listen to it again. I did not catch that.
I was probably still screaming in my head.
Fair.
Oh, boy. Yes. Can we touch upon the plan of the Master?
So dumb.
It is incredibly
We
dumb.
can.
Just to put it out there and state it clearly, the Master wants to impersonate King John with a robot in order for the Magna Carta not to be made,
Yes.
signed. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And why is the Magna Carta important? Like, is he actually implying that if this one document in 1200 whatever in one part of the world, if that isn't done, then all of Earth will go into chaos, every society? Someone better tell the Chinese, because they've been kind of having their society for a very, very, very long time. They don't need the Magna Carta to just keep on going. So I don't know what the hell the Master is thinking.
But if you get rid of Magna Carta, you think about the knock-on impact to Western society, right? So...
Well, that's my point, is that Eastern society was doing just fine, like for the Earth as a whole.
But then that has knock-on impacts because it influenced the US Constitution, so you potentially lose things like US dominance in the 19th and 20th centuries and 21st centuries.
And even British dominance for...
Yeah. So
Once again, though, as a planet as a whole for human beings, does it matter whose flag you're under?
So
No.
basically what's coming out of his mouth is BBC propaganda. Bum,
Yes.
bum, bum.
Which I was thinking, like, so this is 1983, this is Cold War stuff, right?
Yeah.
My thought is the fact that, okay, it doesn't get signed now. Britain was still in the way of, like, they were probably going to get to it eventually. Even if it wasn't signed immediately by King John, the next king might have been forced to sign it anyway. I don't think it would have been this, if it wasn't signed this one time, it would never get signed. I think that's dumb.
right, and historically, it effectively got ignored immediately before the next king, who was Henry III, reinstated parts of it.
Yeah.
So, yes, I can kind of headcanon it with later Doctor Who, and particularly Big Finish talks about how delicate the web of time is, and disrupting something like that potentially unravels so much more. I can understand that, but yeah, when you think about it logically, it's pretty small. Even the Doctor calls it out. He's like, this is small-time villainy by the Master's standards.
Yeah. They were too embarrassed they had to make that line.
I mean, this is the villain who nearly destroyed the universe in Legopolis, and here he's like, I'm just going to poke at Magna Carta a bit. Candidly, this should have been the monk.
That would have been,
Yes.
oh. You're just making me hate the cereal more by making it so much better.
9 times out of 10, when they bring in the Master, it could just be the monk.
Yeah, and particularly for history fuckery like this.
What's really frustrating to me is the fact that we've got the Doctor who just does a little bit of fighting and then just yelling at the Master some. Tegan, who complains the whole time, especially about being cold. And then Turlough is in chains almost the entire time and gets Sir Geoffrey killed, which makes me very sad because Sir Geoffrey was the only person who I was just like, this dude did nothing wrong, so why are we hating on him? There's not a lot going on for it because everything is kind of terrible.
I would like to note that this is the second male companion that's been put in the Master's dungeon.
Hey.
And this is the male companion who Sandifer, take a shot, dear listener, wrote a whole essay about how Turlough is clearly the most openly and obviously gay companion we've had so far.
Super gay.
All right, okay. Jumping off from the Master's dungeon. So when the Master then goes into that dungeon using his Iron Maiden TARDIS, why the hell does the jailer just open the door for him? He's never seen that person his entire life, and they're already behind a locked door. Why would he open the door? What authority does the Master have? He's never seen that person his entire life.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a great question. One that I had as well.
when that happened, I was like, at least do the mind control there, as much as I hate to see it, but you've painted yourself into a corner here, writer. You've got to do something. So, and you know what about Tegan? I felt like Tegan while watching this. I don't want to be here. I'd rather just tuck myself away in some comforters and just sit in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. You want to talk about Chameleon a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good concept.
It looks good.
Yeah, if only they'd had a prop that actually fucking worked.
Yeah. That would have been really quite amazing if they could have kept that going. That would have been something. I actually would have had a better time accepting this serial if this led into a arc for Chameleon. Instead, he's going to be turned to a junk pile in the very first 5 minutes of the next episode, I'm guessing.
Oh, we don't even see him for like 5 stories. He's just tucked away in the TARDIS somewhere.
He's back in the storage closet.
He's in the junk cupboard. Yeah. I actually thought it when Anthony, you were saying all of that, the background stuff with Chameleon. I honestly was sitting there going, this seems really advanced for 1983. Just the concept. How on earth did they think they were getting that with their little BBC budget? Because to get that today would be so expensive. You're blowing your budget on that. That's why everybody goes with CGI. And so to think you were going to get a working product with the luck that the Doctor Who people have is insane to me.
I kept thinking that Chameleon looked like parts of that escape from the manufacturing plant for the Hall of Presidents at Disney World.
Yes.
Because he just had that stiff animatronics thing going on, which I find actually quite endearing. And I think looks kind of cool. Would have been great. Would have been wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really wish he worked.
Is there anything else that we want to talk about in this?
No, I mean, obviously, poor Sir Geoffrey. Sir Geoffrey didn't deserve to die. The way the Master wins over Lord Ranulph and Hugh and their wife, when, he's the one, as Sir Gilles, who locked up Hugh and Lady Fitzwilliam. Like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? But yeah, we have the whole mental battle between the Doctor and the Master for control of Chameleon and blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah.
Which was, wow.
The staring contest.
Wow. Now that is saving budget.
Yep.
Yeah, that went on for far too long.
And then the second time they decided to do it again, it also went on for far too long.
Can we talk actually about how glorious Turlough is in this story? Because he has no clue who the Master is through any of this. No one explains the concept of the Master to him. And yet, the way he's like, I don't know who this is, but I fucking hate this guy. Like, at the end of it, he even says, I've had quite enough of you, whoever you are, so don't try me too far. Like, he has no clue. He just knows that the Master is a wrong'un. Good job, Turlough. You're coming good.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I didn't put it as that great of a thing, but okay.
Take it where you can get it from this one,
Given how much shit we've given Turlough over the last 3 stories, I will take this as like an upswing in he's heading in the right direction here.
Yeah. I think I want to kind of do a little bit of general in everything. You could tell this was rushed. You could tell that this wasn't supposed to end a season. You could tell a lot of things about this story, and I find it very unfortunate. And also this ending. Ugh.
Very strange.
It felt very weird. It didn't feel like it felt very disjointed from the rest of the story.
It was quite rushed.
Yeah.
And then Tegan gets pouty about Chameleon. And she's like, he can have my room for all I care. And so the Doctor's like, just goes full into dick mode. And it's like, all right, then I'll take you home.
I wish she had said good.
Yeah.
And like, he's manipulating her because he's like, well, I was going to take you to the Eye of Orion. It's so beautiful, but I guess I'll just take you home. She's like, no, I want to see it. And then he's like, yeah, cool, we're already going. Like, dude.
He's no longer just a dick anymore. He's just a straight up asshole.
Yes.
I mean, how did they write the Doctor this way? It is blowing my mind. And did anyone else get scared, proper scared in that scene and thought, oh my God, they're not going to send Tegan off in this turd of a serial, are they? Like, just boom. And like, just like that. No, man, don't do this.
I mean, I didn't think that, but equally, I've seen all of this before and I know exactly when she leaves.
I had that moment where I went, do I misremember her departure?
Yeah. All right. Well, I feel like this is a good time. We've got to the end of the story, but it's a good time to ask Reilly the question. Reilly, is he the Doctor yet?
The 5th Doctor I do abhor.
So he is the Doctor. You just don't like him.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. Once again, I fall back on my previous arguments about the Fifth Doctor, which is, other than being an asshole, what is his character trait?
Yeah.
Does he show anything in similarity, if anything, compared to anyone else? He needs a good monologue, just a really good one. And he hasn't had one, and he just seems to be treading water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, let's count up our running metrics. So we have no jelly babies. We have no quarries, so 0 on query. We don't even have any I'll explain laters. We have things that are unexplained, but we're never given the prompt, like the Master's escape from Zarephath. Unexplained, we're never really given a full explanation or told that we will get one at some point. So I didn't catch any I'll explain laters.
No.
Camp count.
Oh, yes. Good old King John.
Yeah, I mean, everything about him, I feel like he deserves at least 5 points on his own.
Yes, at least.
And Anthony Ainley's weird-ass French accent deserves at least a point.
Okay.
Any other nominations?
I'm good. Let's go.
All right. Well, Julie, since you are so demanding on moving forward, you have the privilege of rating this one first.
This wasn't good, guys. There's not really a lot to say about it, right? We've got a 2-parter where you can tell they're cutting corners. The plot makes 0 sense. There's not really much of one. You've got, a couple of things. Maybe, honestly, the actor playing King John does a really good job. And that's about it. I was not having a good time. I was one of the ones who, even though it was told to me before that it was 2 parts, I was like, is there more? Because I don't understand what just happened. And the Doctor continues to be a dick. I did not enjoy myself. So I'm going to get it 1 putting Turlo in chains out of 10.
Wow.
I had a bad time, guys.
All right, Reilly, what have you got?
This is what I have. A historical, a lazy premise, a nonsensical plot, ridiculous overacting, no demons despite demons being in the title, the Master revealing himself from disguise, and it's Ainley's Master, the Fifth Doctor being his dickish self. This felt like someone went into a laboratory to try to make a Doctor Who serial that includes every element of the show I fucking hate. And they succeeded. So all the King's horses and all the King's demons couldn't make this shit serial worth a watch again. And I'm going to give it 1 cringing catifs out of 10. That's right, Julie. I'm right there with you.
Wow.
We agree, Reilly. It's
Yes.
amazing.
This is the worst I'll ever see. Give me some more space pirates.
Damn.
Give me some space pirates instead of this. Absolutely.
Diana, are you going to make a valiant effort at redeeming this?
Oh my God. Well, I can't. First off, that's not happening. But I will try to bring it up from an average of a 1. God, but that's tough. So I didn't hate this story. I definitely came out of it feeling like I don't need to watch it again. But I didn't hate it. I really did enjoy King John. I always love a historical. I also really love the attempt at telling a King John story without Robin Hood. Is great. That being said, I don't understand why we were there. If Magna Carta was, that whole thing didn't make much sense. The extra characters didn't add anything to the story. I really wish we had seen more of Turlo and Tegan, but if only for Tegan's new outfit. I really hate that we're really stuck into only complaining Tegan, and that Tegan doesn't have the self-awareness to realize that she's miserable and should just leave because she's not having fun. So all in all, I'm giving this 4. It probably would have been better if King John had been a lion out of 10.
Nice reference.
Well, objectively, this story's not good. I agree with a lot of the points that were made. The Doctor is at peak dickery, although I did feel Davison had some good moments. The zingers at times, fortunately we're in England, as an example, he pulled off quite well. And, him having the bravado to go up in a sword fight against allegedly the best swordman in France, cool. We're seeing some progress on Davison. I dig it. The bad French accent, it's so bad I kind of love it. I really do. The plan, let's stop Magna Carta. Yes, it would have been better if it was the monk, but equally, I love medieval history, and I'm really glad that we finally, once again, have a story set in this time period. The supporting characters are a bit all over the place. They're inconsistent. We get some good Turlo moments. I'm down with Turlo here. And yeah, we get a companion that we never really see again, in Chameleon. But despite all of its failings, I kind of enjoy it. It's stupid, and I like it for it. So I'm going to give it 6 unexplained master escapes from the previous stories out of 10, which gives us a story average of 3.
That's too high.
I mean, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. We'll get exactly where that ranks in the Davison era so far, probably when we get to the end of the Davison era and do our Davison retrospective. We'll certainly talk about where it is in the perspective of the season next episode, when we will be doing our season 20 retrospective. But for now, that brings us to the end of our episode.
Oh, Anthony?
Yes.
Where does this leave the King's Demons on our rating overall? Where is it? Is it in the bottom 10 of ours?
I need to move some things around in some spreadsheets, so give me a minute.
I just feel like I would want to hear that. I think I would like the audience to know.
It is the 6th worst story.
Only 6.
Yeah, so officially rating worse. If this was a 3, next down the list we have the Dominators at 2.38, Creature from the Pit with a 2, which is also tied with Meglos on a 2, 4 to Doomsday on a 1.88, and of course the Space Pirates on a 1.5.
Wow. Well, when we recorded Snake Dance, I mentioned my intention of wanting to change my score for Kinda to increase it over that of Snake Dance. And you reminded me that we only get to do one of those, and that is at the very, very, very end of Classic Who.
Yep.
So I'm just proposing that for the King's Demons, it might be the one I will pick, so I can lower my 1 to a 0.
No one has ever given a story a 0.
If it gets it to the very bottom of the list, that's my goal. I'll have to do the math.
Hang on. I can do the math for you right now. You alone taking it to a 0 would not do that. Yeah.
All right.
I'm open to bribes.
We're all corrupt on this show. The audience doesn't know we've been getting paid to rate certain cereals certain ways.
You're not getting paid at all. You're locked up in my basement, Reilly. You forget.
You get paid in crackers.
Occasionally, you get better food if I want to sway the voting one way or another.
Well, apparently you gave Reilly and I shit food this time.
Yeah.
Wasn't successful this week.
I gave you the standard food. I did not want to sway the voting. I wanted the honest opinions. But yeah, this did not do well. But yeah, that brings us to the end of the episode. This is not a good story by our completely accurate ratings methodology. That is the 100% definitive truth on all Doctor Who ever.
That is true.
Yeah. But we'll be back next time with our Season 20 retrospective. But until then, dear listener, thank you so very much for listening. And of course, have a good one. You have been listening to Watchers in the Fourth Dimension with Diana Burney, Reilly Schreck, Julie Philippek, and myself, Anthony Williams. This episode, This Is No Tangerine Dream, was recorded on Wednesday the 17th of September 2025. If this is your first time listening into the show, all of our previous episodes are available wherever you like to get your podcasts. You can interact with us on Facebook and Instagram at @Watchers4D, and you can also email us at watchers4d@gmail.com. If you're enjoying the show, please do subscribe and consider leaving us a review or rating on your favorite podcasting app. All of those things really do help the show. And always remember, the thing that makes this story really iconic is that absolute banger of a song.